If you have used a word processor like Microsoft Office Word, you must be familiar with text editing features like making text bold, italicized, and underlined. HTML includes elements that are designed to display these special types of text and many more. These tags are divided into two groups: physical tags and logical or semantic tags. Physical tags are used for the visual appearance of the text, while logical tags add semantic value to the text parts, such as informing search engines for which keywords a web page should be ranked. Let us take a look at those. The HTML B tag is a physical tag that defines bold text, whereas the strong tag is a logical tag used to emphasize the importance of the text. Both elements display text in bold. It is recommended to use the strong tag. I am in the exercises.html file. Note that in the HTML formatting element section, I have some text I have commented out. In this section, I have some instructions to make certain portions of this paragraph bold. Let me uncomment the paragraph. To make the text bold, we will use either the B or the strong element like this. Note that both elements display text between them in bold. Using the strong element is preferable to using the B element. So let's change that like this. And our text still is in bold. Both the I and M tags define italic text, but the I tag is only responsible for visual appearance of the enclosed text without any extra importance. The M tag defines emphasized text with added semantic importance. I am back in the exercises.html file. In this segment, we have some instructions to emphasize scientific words. Let me uncomment the paragraph and put the words between the I element like this. The words are now in italics. However, the M element is recommended. So let's replace the I elements with the M element like this. And our text is still italicized, but now with extra importance. Both the U tag and the INS tag display underlined text. However, the U tag specifies text that has a non-textual annotation, that is, words or fragments of text that need to be presented differently. This could be misspelled words, for example, so that the user can correct them. This is a redefinition this tag received in HTML5. Originally, it was used to identify text that should be underlined. This use is, however, deprecated. The INS tag, on the other hand, defines text that has been inserted to the document. In our exercises.html file, let me uncomment this text. Notice that these words are misspelled. So let us mark them as such. We will use the U element like this. We can insert the correct spelling using the INS element like this. Notice that this may confuse a user. Let us take a look at other tags we can use. The del tag specifies a part of the text that was deleted from the document. Browsers display this text as strike-through or a line through the text. The S tag defines text that is no longer correct or relevant. Its content is also displayed as a strike-through. Note that the del element is the opposite of the INS element. Consider this conversation. Notice that John's response is repeated. Assuming he corrected his unkind words, let's indicate the deleted and inserted text like this. And now the user can distinguish between the two formats. The S element also displays irrelevant text using a strike-through. Consider this announcement. This text was relevant as long as this was true. We can indicate that it is irrelevant by using the S element like this. The sub element defines subscript text. Subscript text is under the baseline of all other symbols of the line and has smaller font. The sup element, on the other hand, defines superscript text that is set slightly above the normal line of text and is relatively smaller than the rest of the text. Let's consider this paragraph. It contains some logarithmic expressions. Since the power is superscript text, let's enclose between the sup element like this. Then let's enclose the base between the sub element like this. Now the expression is displayed as intended. The pre tag is used to define preformatted text. The browser will render the enclosed text with white spaces and the line breaks as written in HTML source code. Let's consider a few examples. Suppose we wanted to display text that includes such content as code like this. This is one of the places where the pre element becomes handy. Let's see it in practice. I am in the exercises.html file. In the HTML formatting elements section, let me uncomment this segment. Notice how the text is displayed. This is because browsers ignore extra white space within paragraphs. Fortunately, we have the pre element. Don't worry about these unfamiliar characters for now. We use them to display the angle brackets. This is because we do not intend to define an element here, but just text. Now let me remove the p element from this code segment and replace it with the pre element like this. We have our text displayed as intended. Consider the popular poem by Henry Barlow, Building the Nation. Here is an excerpt. Let me remove the comments to make it renderable. Each stanza is enclosed between the p element. Notice that paragraphs ignore extra white space. So how would we write markup so that each line of the stanzas occupies its own line? One way is to break each line into a separate line using the br tag like this. With this approach, however, we have too many br elements. The better way is to use the preformatted element like this. Notice that this approach is shorter and more concise. The text between the pre element is displayed in monospace. We can alter it using CSS like this. The mark tag is used to present a part of text in a document as marked or highlighted for reference purposes. In our exercises.html file, let's uncomment this paragraph and mark this word. Notice that the text is highlighted with a yellow color. The small tag decreases the text font size by one size smaller than a document's base font size. For example, from medium to small or from extra large to large. The tag usually contains the items of secondary importance, such as copyright notices, side comments, or legal notices. Let's apply some of these elements in our project's index.html file. Looking at the completed project, notice that these are in bold. These paragraphs are in italics. The disclaimer and the amazing health anchor text are also in bold. Let's add these formats. So in the index.html file, let's add the strong element to these labels like this. Then to the disclaimer label and the anchor text like this. Let's add the M elements to these paragraphs like this. Finally, the copyright paragraph appears smaller, so let's add the small element like this. In the next section, we will look at how to include quotations and citations in our HTML documents.